These are 5 cards you should always draft in Outlaws of Thunder Junction Limited. Now, always is a bit of a strong word, so we'll caveat this by saying that these are cards you should always at least consider very, very strongly out of the pack, and probably should be taking higher than you are already taking them, even if you already think they're good, because these are cards that are even better than they look. But that's a bit longer of a title, so we'll stick with 5 cards to always draft. First things first, we have Trained Airings, the premier common aggressive 2-drop in the format. This card has played out way better than it looked at first glance, because you might think a 2-mana 3/1. We've seen those, they're a dime a dozen. But this one being able to get First Strike and Scry to help you find more great cards has been very, very strong, and this is a terrifying card that you really never want to see your opponent play on turn 2. You are happy to play any number of these in your aggressive white decks, and having a couple of these can make your decks aggressive. So this is the card you should be taking higher. You should always at least consider when you see it in a pack. It's a premier common and one you should be taking highly. Moving on through the colors, we're going to be covering 1 card from every color because that sounds like fun. We are talking about Canyon Crab. This card has played out way better than it looks because its ability has come up very, very frequently. A 2-mana 0/5 just blocks basically every creature in this format, so you get kind of a pseudo removal spell of sorts that also starts giving you card filtering once you don't have a spell to play on your main phase, or you plot something instead, or you hold up a counter spell / instant speed effects. Canyon Crab just helps you draw through your deck, and once you do have the board stabilized, you can just hit him for 4 with this in the late game. Double pump it. Crash in, hit him with the crab. It's really, really effective, and it's a card that I love, and definitely a card you should always consider in your packs. Next up is Desperate Bloodseeker, a card that is definitely easy to potentially underrate a little bit. 2 mana, 2/2, lifelink. But it also mills 2 cards from either player. You can target your opponent to trigger crimes. You can target yourself to fuel graveyard synergies. You can have lifelink so that you can gain life against the aggressive decks. It's also just a 2-drop, so if you're trying to attack, it does it all. This is the little glue type card that really fits well into every deck, and it's the sort of card that you should prioritize as a result. Definitely worth considering in every pack you see it in, because you're always going to play it. You're always going to be happy. It's always going to perform pretty well for you. Definitely a nice little card, and one that I'm happy to play pretty much any number of in my black decks. Next up on the red card, we're talking about Scalestorm Summoner, a card that is excellent. Pretty much any deck you can play it in. It looks like the sort of card that you would only want in a certain dedicated 4 Power Matters deck. But the thing is there's plenty of ways to buff power in this set. There's mercenary tokens. There's also just like big creatures running around in every color pair pretty much. And so you'll just be able to crack in, get a 3/1. And if you ever like get a free hit in with this where they don't get to kill it and you can potentially generate 2 3/1s with this, you basically just win the game. This is a card you should definitely be considering strongly to take out of your packs. And then the final card is Outcaster Greenblade. This card is absolutely stellar. And I know when you first read it, you probably thought, wow, this card is good. And it's even better than that, because this card is even better than you think it is. And it's a little bit funny because when I say you should always take this card, this is actually the one that's closest to you should always take this card, because it puts you into green. It plays out like a rare when you have it in the right deck. You just like play your 3 mana 4/5 that draws you the exact desert that you need to get all your colors down. It's just absolutely incredible. Definitely a card you should be taking highly. But all 5 of these cards are ones you should be prioritizing. Always draft. I know it's a bit of a hyperbole, but we'll just put it in there for the synergy title with the cards I said you should never draft, which I posted last week, which you can find on my channel. That's going to do it for this one. I hope you see these cards in your packs, and I'll talk to you next time.